Ballı durnam bizim ele varırsan, allı durna bizim ele varırsan, şeker söyle, kaymak söyle, bal söyle. Gülüm gülüm kırıldı kolum, tutmuyor elim durnaları.
This song is about he's talking to a bird actually. Turna is the type of bird, and I guess there is a red part on Turna. It's like is red color. He's talking to Turna saying like, if you fly to where I came from, where I am from, tell good things about me, except if they ask me without you telling them about how I am doing, then tell them I'm not doing very well. It's kind of a sad song. I know I don't have much time left, so I'm gonna kind of jump to the next. Turkish music used in military too. So during Ottoman Empire, before the military attacks, this band called Mehter would play their songs to kind of motivate the soldiers. And here's one of the examples. This is like one of the main songs in Mehter's band. You can hear there's gonna be subtitles. So. You can hear the Turkish drum, asma davul, and the cymbals playing. And the main instrument is called zurna. It's basically a wooden pipe that there are like holes in it, and like a mouthpiece. It's very hard to play actually. Okay, and so on. Just wanna give you an example of ghazal improvisation between in the middle of a song. I think it's very cool. This actually it's not this one. But anyways, I guess I didn't add that one. But this is part of a Sufi gathering. Sufism is a part of Islam, a spiritual uh, teachings part of Islam, and the music is heavy in Sufism. When they get together, there is always a band playing, and this instrument, percussions, is called kudum. They play the usul, which I tapped before, and this instrument is ney. It's basically a wooden instrument that are holes in it, but it's kind of interesting because as you play the instrument, its color changes through time. It gets darker and darker. I guess it burns inside, and which is talked a lot in Sufism, because as you continue your Sufi practices, your heart and your spirit or your ego burns too, and so you become a better human being. Okay. Music therapy used a lot in Ottoman Empire. Uh, it worked. They knew that certain type of modes, makams, would heal certain type of sicknesses. So they would get their patients and have them listen uh, whatever particular mode according to their sicknesses. It was big and it worked. All right, I think I'm done with my presentation. I don't want to take too much time from Abe. Thank you so much. I will stop sharing my screen. Okay.
Ahmet, that was great, man.
Thanks, Abe.
It was really great.
To hear yours. Thank you.
Yeah. How about a hand for Cez and Ahmet? Yay.
Thank you.
All right. Before I begin, I do have a few minutes. Thank you, HEC, for having the both of us to talk a little bit, with our own specific expertise on Turkey. I am Eric Lagrimus's brother, and I'm a drummer. I'm a professional musician. And as a drummer, it's impossible to not recognize the influence of Turkish cymbals, because the cymbals are an integral part of the percussion family, and also the drum set. And some of the best cymbals that has ever been made come from Turkey. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let me share my screen. Okay. All right. So I'll give you just a brief history on cymbals, and I'm going to talk about the Zildjian family, which is probably the best, most well-known cymbal company today, and has been for many years. And I'm just going to talk about how cymbals are used in contemporary music today. Okay, so cymbals dates to as early as 1200 BC, and we know that because it's one of the earliest references are have been mentioned in the Old Testament. It's been mentioned multiple times throughout the Bible, There's a verse or a passage here I'll just share with you. I thought it was kind of neat. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And there's multiple passages like that in the Old Testament, usually also for celebratory occasions. So cymbals or gongs have been mentioned throughout the Old Testament. The exact origin of cymbals are unknown, but it's most of the evidence that we found, kind of dates back to either China or the Central Asia part of the world. Cymbals are made out of bronze, which is an alloy mixture of copper and tin, and other metals as well, like silver has been used as well. And during that time, if there's war, there's metal, because armies had to produce weapons, so and those regions, China, Central Asia, they were rich in resources, in those metal resources. So people started to mess around with different alloys to make their weapons for the military, and then eventually for musical instruments, for cymbals. And in different cultures, it's been used for religious ceremonies. It's been used, for many years in Buddhism, and then also I mentioned war for military purposes. For the bands, Ahmet mentioned cymbals being used in the Ottoman army, and that's cymbals were used to create noise to scare off the enemies, and then later on in music and in dance. Now, Turkish production, specifically Turkey, production began as early as in the year 1200 for the Ottoman army. Again, for military war purposes. Okay, so in 1623, a man named Avidiz Zildjian, just named Avidiz at the time, he was an alchemist from Istanbul. And so the Zildjian company today, it's the most well-known, most popular cymbal company, and has been around since 1623. So Avidiz, as an alchemist, he was, he came up with a secret alloy recipe of bronze, and his cymbals had had all these really great qualities about the cymbal. So it was very bright sound, great resonance, and they were durable. And the Sultan at the time, he was ordering these cymbals for the army, and he was really impressed with the quality that Avidiz was making. So the Sultan actually gave him the name Zildjian, and the word Zildjian translates to cymbalsmith. So Zil means cymbal, and then the DJ part is a suffix meaning like a smith, so like a blacksmith or maker. And then IAN means son, translates to son. So son, Zildjian means son of the cymbal maker or cymbalsmith. Again, produced for Zildjian. The Zildjian company produced cymbals for military bands, again, churches, for religious ceremonies, and then a lot later for orchestral purposes, in orchestras all over Europe. Today, the Zildjian company has an annual revenue of $10 to $50 million dollars a year, making it the largest and most successful popular cymbal company in the world. Been used in literally thousands of bands, bands we know like Nirvana, Aerosmith, Metallica, the Beatles. They've all used Zildjian. As a drummer, I grew up playing Zildjian cymbals as well. So it's hard not to recognize their influence in contemporary music. All right, so I'm gonna show some examples of how cymbals are used. This is a pair of orchestral cymbals that you would see in a symphony, and just so you can hear just the cymbals by themselves. Can you hear that? Okay, great. Okay, so that's just how, crash cymbals you would see in an orchestra. This next example is seeing those crash cymbals in action. And in orchestral music, percussion and cymbals only happened later in the 18th century. So composers like early composers, Bach or Mozart, there weren't any percussion or cymbals. So orchestras were only incorporating percussion when the orchestra's sound got larger. Composers like Wagner is known for their large, big sound. Wagner and Mahler. So here is an example of a Wagner piece using cymbals. So this is the Berlin Philharmonic, one of the world's top orchestras in the world, and that is a pair of Zildjian cymbals. And cymbals in orchestras are used to accentuate certain musical passages. Oops. Okay, now in 1929, In 1929, the Zildjian Company moved to the United States. There was some conflict going on in Turkey, and they moved the company they left Turkey and moved to Massachusetts. And originally, I think his name was Aram Zildjian at the time. He moved to Massachusetts, opened up a candy store, but then later realized, that he didn't want to make cymbals originally, but then realized someone told him that, anybody can make candy, but only you can make cymbals. So he eventually, continued the family tradition of making cymbals here in the United States, and therefore, introducing the Zildjian product to the American market. Now this was 1929, so throughout the 30s and 40s, jazz music was becoming popular. So the jazz drummers wanted different sounds. So Zildjian had to kind of meet the needs of these jazz drummers at the time. So this is an example of Tony Williams, who was a drummer for Miles Davis, and what was unique about the cymbals that they were using was, they brought over the secret family recipe to the United States, and the reason why they chose Massachusetts, they noticed that the conditions of the ocean, the salt water used in the process of making cymbals, was very similar to the water in Istanbul, in Turkey. So just to give you a sound, so the characteristics of it kind of have a darker quality to these cymbals. Okay, so as you can see, the cymbals are such an important and integral part of jazz music. Just driving, it really propels the band. Again, Tony Williams, a notable Zildjian artist. This next performance, the Beatles. We all know this performance of the Beatles in the Ed Sullivan Theater. I'll quickly wrap this up here. I want to mention that, you know, after this performance, Zildjian had a backlog because, you know, a lot of people all over the country watched this performance on TV, and all the young drummers wanted to buy Zildjian cymbals because Ringo Starr of the Beatles was playing Zildjian cymbals. The company, you know, had such a demand for cymbals that they couldn't keep up. And so 4 years later, after this performance, they had to open up another company or another factory, which they did up in New Brunswick, Canada. So let's watch this one.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you something. I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Oh, please.
So that was Ringo Starr with his Zildjian cymbals there. One of the biggest bands ever. And I'll share with you one more. So, you know, Zildjian cymbals have been used in orchestras, rock and roll, jazz. Another one is marching band. We've all seen cymbals in marching band, so here's an example of that. Yeah, so as you can see, you know, not only are they used to accentuate certain parts of the music, but marching bands really took it to a whole other level where they, because of its, you know, gold shiny color, create a great visual effect, especially for those that, you know, that stand out when you're in the big, you know, stadiums. So those are just some examples of how Zildjian cymbals have been used in many different musical situations. One more thing before I wrap up, I just want to show you a little bit of some of my cymbal collection. These are not made in Turkey, but I just kind of want to show you to give you a little a closer look at cymbals. Now, cymbals are made from these you know, bronze blanks or discs, and they turn out, you know, into this shape. But as you can see, they're originally made by, you know, made by hand, and you can see those dimples. And what those dimples are hammer marks. So when the person making the cymbal gets a hammer and is hammering this, and eventually gets it to this shape as a cymbal, you know. So you can see how random those hammer marks are. So this is one style of cymbal. Another one I want to show you is the lathing process. Now the lathing process gives the cymbal those rings there. It kind of looks like a record. Okay, and a lathe so this is like on a machine that spins really fast, and the person who lathes the cymbal, it's like a metal stick, so the cymbal's rotating and they're basically like carving the metal out to create these rings. Now these the hammer marks and those rings, you know, affect the sound of the cymbal. So, and I want to show you another one. Here's another one where the lathing process is completely different. They're a little bit more spread apart and also random, you know. So lathing can be done by a machine, and also by hand. You can tell it's completely random, the patterns. Okay. Now these processes, some of these processes is what the Zildjian company, basically kind of made famous, and all the symbol companies today, adopted those techniques.
Abe,
So the
can
hammering
you
process, yes.
can you like stop
Oh,
screen sharing and hold up the symbols again so it looks bigger to
oh,
everybody?
sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
No, no, no.
Okay, so here again, those hammer marks, again done by hand. This is all hand. Okay. Now the lathing process, you could see those rings. Kind of looks like a vinyl record. That's one type of lathing, and then here's another different style of lathing where you can see those rings, but they're a little bit further apart. Okay. And the hammering and lathing process all vary depending on what type of symbol you want to create. So to create different sounds and different models, depending on what the customer is looking for. So we have just a few minutes for questions. Anybody? I guess we'll open it up. Thank you so much.
It was great. I learned a lot.
Any questions, anyone? I think you gave us so much information that nobody has questions. That was really great. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks everyone for hanging out, listening, learning.
Thanks so much.
That was really great. Thank you. If you guys want to stick around, our next session is on Turkish calligraphy and hijrelles. How do you say that, Sezin?
Hıdrellez.
Yeah, hijrelles, a DIY
That's pretty
project.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Eric, you
Thank
have any
you, so
closing
great.
words?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Eric.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Is it
Bye-bye.
cool to log off?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, thanks.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much again, HCC, for having us.
Thank you so much.
Ahmed, I'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, see you soon.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. So please stick around, everyone, for our next session on Turkish calligraphy. That will be from 12 to 12:30, and then at 1 o'clock we will have. Well, it'll kind of go in together, right, Elliot? The next two sessions, they kind of go together.
Yeah, sorry, my reception's kind of choppy right now, so I couldn't hear everything you were saying. But the plan would be to have Melik go right now, but I don't see him in the participants. But the plan would be to have him go, and then he wants to take about 30 minutes, and then Hidrles would be after that.
Okay.
So yeah, they're kind of together. Melik told me that he had a meeting that started 30 minutes ago, but he expected he'd be here on time. I haven't heard anything from him since then. So I guess I can shoot him an email and see maybe he can respond to that. Let me do that.
All right.
You're not driving that car though, are you, Elliot?
No, I am not. I am
Okay.
a passenger. Sorry.
I was like, please don't try to send email and be on Zoom and drive.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. So please stick around, everyone. We're just gonna have a little short break. And I don't know, maybe I could put up some Turkish music. Wasn't that so interesting, that music?
Yeah, I love it. It's very different, right? And that was cool to see the mode or whatever even listed on the music, right? Like it
Yeah.
said how it's supposed to be played.
Okay, let's hear.
I never thought so much about symbols in my life. That was fun.
Okay, just a minute. Let me share my screen. So take a break, go get a drink of water. or whatever you need to do, and we will continue in a moment. Check out the website
What does
too.
it take to be a Shenyun dancer?
That's nice, Kalehua.
It's nice, yeah. Check out the website, everyone, our Turkish Adventure website. Get a Zoom background. Okay, I'm at full screen, so I can't get the